Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing After Effects CS6 video tutorial. And today we're going to go over compositions, how to make a composition, and talk a little bit about composition settings. So it's going to be awesome. We have to, when you start out learning a program, you have to learn like the basics, and sometimes they're not all that awesome, but to really use a program, you don't want to start in the middle and then you don't know how to figure out how to do the basic things. I'm saying this from experience. I started out trying to make awesome things at first, realized I didn't really know how to use the program and couldn't really follow what was going on. So it's great to start out and learn from the beginning, not just jump in. You wouldn't want to jump into a video game in the middle of the video game. So, and it's just an example, no more lecture, whatever. So we'll start off by I'll show you how to create a new composition. Go up here to composition, and a composition is basically like a big group that's going to contain your footage, your layers, and everything. You are able to apply effects to compositions, and you can apply effects to the composition elements like the layers and the solids and stuff like that. So you can go to composition, new composition. The hotkey is Control N, and this will pop up. You have the basic tab here, and then you have the advanced tab. I almost never use the advanced tab. I actually haven't ever used it. So, but we'll cover the advanced tab at another point in time, in case you ever need to. Right now, most of the time, everybody is going to want you to use either this HDTV preset or another HDTV like a 720p. But I always stick with HDTV 1080 because you can always cut the resolution in half to get 720p. Anytime you try to up the resolution, it's gonna look blurry and crappy. So anytime you start out at the top, you can always cut down and it'll still look fine. Trying to go up is bad. There's also a couple resolutions or presets that are getting a little bit outdated. The NTSC, which is about 480, and that's basically like your old tube TVs used to have NTSC, or maybe your local news channel where like the video quality on it isn't that good. That's probably NTSC. It's not HD. There's also actually the NTSC is used in the Americas mostly, and I think like Brazil doesn't use it. Maybe they're changing into it. I don't know. I don't live in Brazil, but I do have a friend that lives in Brazil, and he's pretty good at what he does. NTSC stands for National Television System Committee. Just a fun fact. No one will ever ask you that, and you don't even really need to know it. It's just something to throw out there. PAL is what they used to use in mainly like Europe and Asia and Africa. It's 560i, and that's basically fading out also. So basically, I would stick with HDTV. Maybe later on, if you ever work at like a film studio, where like say you're gonna work on like Avengers or something like that, Avengers 2, it might be in 2K. Like I said, they actually like to shoot their video in high resolution because they can always downgrade it later. So preset 1080 29.97. Actually, we'll go with 24 because most HDTV is 24 now, and that always seems to work. That's also less frames that you need to work with. So stick with HDTV 1080 24 for now. Keep this at square pixels. It's the gives you the 16.9 aspect ratio, which is what you always really want. And anytime you don't want to use a preset, you can also manually type in these. So someone has a wacky like 985 or something like that. If someone has like a wacky custom, maybe you need to make like a banner on the side of a website, and it's got different dimensions on it, a different resolution. You can add in your own custom, but there is a web banner, but I mean, they're not always going to be the same. So let's go back to this preset. Here's where the frame rate, you want to keep frame rates either at 24 or 29.97 in the US. Full resolution, that's what you want to start out with. If you half it, it's just gonna bring it in half or whatever. You really don't want to do that. I always start with about 30 seconds. You can always change this later, but just to have something on your table that's not like way too much. If you put in like 30 minutes, your timeline is going to be really huge, and you're going to have to go through everything and zoom in and everything like that. So I just keep it small unless I like know what's going on. I always like to keep the background color black, but I mean, you can do whatever feels better on your eyes. So you always want to name it. So I'll name this one New Boston Rules. Maybe I should spell it right. And that creates this is your comp. It's kind of like your canvas. You can, let's drag this into our comps folder. We'll open it up just so we can look. Say you created your composition and you did something wrong. You put in the wrong name. Well, you can change the name on there. If you put in the wrong resolution, you can go to composition settings, and you can fix it. So that's easy enough. Okay, and let's throw something on there. Got this image again. You can just take it and drag it over, and it puts it within the composition. So I mean, you would want something to fill the background, so we'll just throw something in there as a background, because when you render this out, it's just going to be all black. Just throw this in there for now. Put this picture on top in the layers, and you can see that the composition holds these different effects. So let's throw an effect in there. We'll throw a blur. It's the easiest one to throw in there. Where's the fast blur? We'll put it on Bucky here. Move this back to where it's supposed to be. And let's blur him. Yep. This is just messing around. So use this panel on the top, or this slider on the top here. You can get back to your project panel. So there's that. I'm going to take the blur off because it's annoying me. So we'll go back to the effect. But I just wanted to show you how you get to put effects on things within a composition. You can also bring up the composition itself and put different effects on it if you throw the composition within another composition. So that stuff will become more clear once we do more projects. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Another way to make a composition, and this is my favorite way, if I know that I'm going to be working on video footage, I'll have the video already made from the camera, and you can take it and bring it in over top on this button right here, down here, and it will create your composition with the same aspect ratio and same resolution that you have on the video. So this is a video I made a while ago, and basically just something we made for the company I used to work for. And those are the two ways you can make your composition. In the next tutorial, we'll be talking a little bit more about the composition panel and what these buttons down here mean, and anything else that. Hey everybody, welcome to another Adobe After Effects CS6 tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about the composition panel, and I'll explain to you what the different buttons on it do. The composition panel is right here in the middle. It's one of your main viewers, and you'll be using it all the time, so it's good to know what all the buttons do. So before I start the tutorial, I wanted to share with you something that happened to me this morning. I help out at a farm in the mornings, and we gotta wake up at 4:30 in the morning to feed cows. So when I was I was up, but like barely awake, like a walking zombie or whatever. And I was just walking through, checking stuff out, and one of the cows I walked behind just decided to have a bowel movement, and it was like a waterfall or something. It was gross. And I had a hoodie on, and I was right behind him, not paying attention, and it went straight into my hoodie pocket and like came out the side of the other side of the pocket and was disgusting as hell and almost made me barf. Um, Needless to say, I don't own that hoodie anymore. It went straight into the trash, and luckily it warmed up. I didn't have to like I wasn't cold anymore. It's a little cold up here sometimes. Right now it's pouring rain. So just thought I'd share that with you. My little misfortune and bad luck today. Hopefully the rest of the day goes better. I took a nice nap after that though. It was pretty good. So let's get back to the composition panel. We'll start up here on the little drop down menu here. Let's see, we drop it down. You can create a new comp viewer. See, that just makes a new one, and it automatically comes locked. Let's reset this. I don't want that comp viewer to be there anymore. Workspace, reset. Yep. Alright. And you can switch between your different comp viewers here. They just go through the comps that you already have in your project panel. You can lock the viewer. That it doesn't mean you can't move it around. All that means is that when you open up a new one, it's going to open it up in a new window. So I could have just clicked X last time to get rid of it instead of resetting my workspace. And if you unlock it, you can just go back and forth between different compositions instead of opening up a new window. So down here is the always preview this view button, and at some point we'll get to use these buttons more often, and then you'll use them throughout. There's a couple that you always use. This is the basically the view, the size of your view. So if we go to fit, it'll put it to whatever view your comp is, composition screen is, depending on how big your screen is and how big you have the comp set. So if I drag this all the way down, let's put it at like 6.25 or whatever, and then I hit fit, it'll just fit it right to it. So let's bring this back up. It's going to fit, and then it just automatically sizes it when you have it on there. This button here brings up your grids and stuff. So you get the title and action safe, and if you don't know what that is, the title safe for television is here, and any words that you put down, like anything, like if you're making scrolling text for credits or something like that, you must keep them inside these. This is the action safe, where any video footage this is where it's going to end, and this is the invisible area on the end here. You can also bring up a grid, and then other kind of grids too. You got your rulers. You can it's kind of like the Photoshop rulers and stuff, and most of the time you'll just keep all those off. And now the next one here is the toggle mask and shape path visibility. We have here the current time down here in your timeline. So if I move this, it's going to change. Let's go back to where we were. And then the next one is the take the snapshot button. So say your client wants you to see what you have done, you can take a snapshot, or if you want to try different effects and your client wants to see them real quick to see how it looks, like if you're color correcting, then you can take a snapshot real quick. This is the show snapshot button. The next one is the show channel and color management button, as you can see here. So you can check out your alpha. This has no alpha. I'll explain what an alpha is at a later date. This is your resolution. Cut it in half and or to a third or something. Sometimes if you have a lot of effects going on, it bogs down your computer, so you can cut the resolution in half and you'll be able to render more, and your computer won't go so slow when you're trying to scrub through the timeline and everything. This is called the region of interest button. So if you click on it, and it lets you draw out like a square, and then only that section will render. So maybe you're just trying to change the color of this sign here, and you keep on messing with it, but you don't want to waste time rendering all the other stuff. You just want to see what the sign looks like every time. You use the region of interest button. Click on it again to take it off. This is the toggle transparency, and what that does, it won't work if you have all footage around. If the whole thing is covered, it won't work. So let me take off the visibility of this footage real quick, and I can click on the toggle visibility, and then you can see what is going to be transparent, or what nothing is there. So let's put this back on. This is the camera, 3D camera views. So you can control your cameras when you're in a 3D view. I don't have anything 3D on right now, and so at some point we'll use that because After Effects uses tons of 3D space. The next one is select layouts, and you can change how you look at different things. So like maybe one view can be from the left, one view can be from the right, and then that way you can see different sides at the same time. It's useful for working in 3D space. This button here is the toggle pixel aspect ratio correction. The next button here is the fast previews menu. So it brings up a small menu here. Also good for 3D stuff. This is the bring timeline forward button. This here is the comp flowchart button, and these two buttons here are for exposure. So this one resets and this one adjusts exposure. And then you have your options panel up here, which is on all the there's an options panel on every single one of these, but they're all pretty much the same, so no need to go over it again. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the composition panel. We'll hope to see you in the next tutorial. We can discuss the timeline panel down here. So keep on watching. Have a good day, everybody.